We got donuts over here if you want to thank you for your hard work.
I can bring some for my kids here.
Okay. The 25% tariffs we just brought in on Chinese steel is going to help you out.
That's going to keep my job,
yeah.
What about the 40% taxes I'm paying, and I don't have a doctor?
The $400 million that we invested to invest in the car means you're going to have a job for
I think you're only here for another year. We won't see you around probably another year.
No, that's what elections are for.
That's right.
And I look forward to everyone exercising the right to vote.
Yep.
Basic choice. We're going to invest in you and your job.
I don't believe you for a second.
Dental care? Do you know anyone who got dental care?
Yeah, I pay for it myself.
Okay.
We're like 3 years behind.
You have a job and coverage?
Yeah,
but we
four
got
people
seniors.
in my family.
We've got
Every time we go for a dental visit, it's costing me about $50 in my pocket per person.
Okay.
Why? I have a good job. You're not really doing anything for us, Justin.
Well, actually, we just invested so 500,000 people who haven't been to the dentist got to go to the dentist over the past few months.
Probably like my neighbor that doesn't go to work because she's lazy.
She
doesn't go to work. She lives the same life I do.
Most Canadians try to stick up for each other, and that's what we're going to keep doing.
Yeah.
Good luck and take care of your family, sir.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right.
Have a nice day.
Have a good day, sir. All right. The other guys got the donuts. Excellent. This is my video update on this Monday afternoon, September the 2nd. Let's talk about some news, and let's start things off with the regional election results in Germany, where the AfD, they came in first place in Thuringia. They came in second place in Saxony. And the only reason that the AfD came in second place to the CDU in Saxony, the CDU got, I believe they got 33% of the vote, and AfD, they got something around 31% of the vote. The only reason the CDU came out ahead is because the other parties, they told their supporters to vote for the CDU in order to prevent the AfD from also winning in Saxony. But AfD did win in Thuringia, and they won with 33 or 34% of the vote. And Sarah Wagenknecht, her new party, this is a brand new party, they did really well in these elections. I believe 16% in Thuringia and somewhere around 11 or 12% in Saxony. I'm not sure if I've got those numbers right, but her party, she did really, really well for being a brand new political party. Sarah Wagenknecht, and her party is a traditional left party, not this neoliberal Obama left, a traditional left party. Some people are labeling her party a left conservative party, believes in no war, believes in controlling Germany's borders, but also believes in a traditional left economic and social policy. But she did really well in these elections. You know who got hammered in these elections? Olaf Scholz. Pirate Scholz. Pirate Scholz got hammered, matey. Pirate Scholz got hammered. The SPD did not do well. I think they got 6% in Thuringia and Saxony. They did really well, really poorly. They did really poorly. And the Greens, the Greens got smacked down, man. Annalena 360 became Annalena 0. Annalena 0%. Because the Greens, they are not even going to be represented in these regional governments. That's how poorly they did. Yeah, so let's see what the Financial Times has to say about this. They have an article with the title, Far Right Alternative for Germany Wins First Regional Election. Disastrous results for parties in Chancellor Olaf Scholz's three-way coalition government. The Alternative for Germany has won elections in the eastern region of Thuringia, the first time a far-right party has secured victory in a state poll in the country's post-war history, according to Preliminary results, the AfD garnered 32.8% in Thuringia, way ahead of all other parties. The center-right Christian Democratic Union, the CDU, was in second place with 23.6%. In the neighboring state of Saxony, the CDU won with 31.9%, and the AfD came second with 30.6%. The results are a disaster for the parties in Scholz's three-way coalition, with the Social Democrats, Greens, and Liberals all sinking to single digits in both states. In Thuringia, the SPD had its worst result in a regional election in post-war German history, scoring just 6.1%, while both the Greens and Liberal FDP scored so badly that they will no longer be represented in the state parliament. The AfD is not the only beneficiary of local residents' anger. They also voted in large numbers for a new far-left party, the Sarah Wagenknecht Alliance, BSW, which won 15.8% in Thuringia and 11.8% in Saxony. Voters were attracted to both the AfD and BSW by their opposition to the war in Ukraine. Both parties have heavily criticized German weapons supplies to Kiev, as well as Western sanctions against Russia, and called for negotiations to bring about an end to the fighting. Sarah Wagenknecht, far left, far right, far left. If they don't approve of you, you're going to be far something. You're far left, far right, far something, far out of this world, far extremist, whatever. If they don't like you, you are far out, man. You are far out if the neoliberals and the neocons disapprove of your policies. But yeah, Sarah Wagenknecht, far left party. AfD, far right victory, a historic far right victory. And when the Financial Times tells you the truth as to why these parties won, then you know that Olaf Scholz, Pirate Scholz, is in big trouble. They admit that a lot of this election result was due to Scholz's policy with Project Ukraine. German deindustrialization is what they mean. Germany decided to go after Russia, decided to play along with Biden's regime change plan. Germany decided to listen to Biden, man. God, that shows you how dumb this traffic light coalition is. They decided to follow the lead of Bidenopolis. We're going to regime change Putin. Trust me, Scholz. Aye, matey, Biden, whatever you say, I'm with you. I will set sail with you, first mate Biden. Yeah, they actually believed that they were going to get the regime change in Russia, so they went along with Project Ukraine, and they placed sanctions on Russia, and somehow Nord Stream was blown up either by Poland, either by Zelensky or Zelensky, or Poland with Zelensky and Zelensky, or Gilligan, or Vladimir Z, the mysterious Vladimir Z, and his 5 Mary divers. Whatever, anything but thank you, USA Sikorsky. And yeah, Nord Stream was blown up, and Germany lost its cheap Russian energy. And by losing its cheap Russian energy, Germany's economy was demolished, and deindustrialization is now in full effect in Germany, all because Olaf Scholz decided to follow Biden down this Project Ukraine regime change Russia path. That's going to go down in history as one of the dumbest political decisions ever, following Biden in his regime change Putin idea. So that's Germany. Those are the results in Germany. The Financial Times, they are telling the truth. People in Germany voted for AfD, and they voted for Sarah Wagenknecht and her party because her party and AfD, they are saying enough of the war. It's time to tell Zelensky to negotiate. It's time to try to try and patch things up with Russia. Is that even possible? I doubt it. But maybe it's possible. Some rapprochement with Russia, though. Russia's very pissed off with Germany's betrayal of Russia. Leopard tanks in Ukraine and Leopard tanks in Kursk. I don't know if Russia's going to be so forgiving. But yeah, that's why they voted for AfD and for Sarah Wagenknecht. So big news in Germany. Of course, these regional elections, they don't affect foreign policy. They don't have any type of influence on foreign policy, at least not directly. But you gotta expect Scholz's government to collapse soon, right? I mean, after the results of the European election, where Scholz got smacked down, and after these results, where Scholz got smacked down, and the Greens ended up with a big donut, zero results. You got to imagine that their coalition is in big trouble. But who's going to replace Scholz? Most likely CDU. Merkel and her legacy party and policies, the CDU, and they're also pro Project Ukraine and pro German deindustrialization. But we can now go to Bild. Since we're talking Germany, let's go to Bild and to Zelensky's number one supporter, Ukraine's number one cheerleader, Julian Ropske. I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, but he is the number one fan of Ukraine. But to his credit, he is also a very fair reporter, as fair as he can be when you're under the spell of Zelensky number 5. You can only be but so fair and so objective. But when things are going bad for Ukraine and for the Zelensky regime, at least he calls it out. For the Ukraine military, he calls it out. So we got to give him credit and props for that. And he put out an article in the German publication Bild, and this is Google translated from Germany to English. The title is Ukraine losing because it wins in Russia? That is the Google translated English title. And the article says, if you believe the words of Ukrainian President Zelensky, the Kursk offensive by the Ukrainian army is a complete success. After almost 4 weeks, his troops dominate 100 localities and almost 1,300 square kilometers in Russian territory. The campaign in Kursk was part of his government's victory plan, Zelensky said this week. But the reality is a little more complex, Ropske writes. Since the beginning of the Kursk offensive on the 6th of August, Russian troops advanced faster and faster in eastern Ukraine, Donbass. In the Donetsk region alone, they conquered more than 230 square kilometers. And while the Ukrainian army with Sudza could only control one small Russian town, 6,000 inhabitants, Russia's invasion army conquered 5 Ukrainian places with more than 53,000 inhabitants in August. Those places include Novhorodivka, New York, etc. Since Thursday, the strategically important 65,000 inhabitant city of Pokrovsk has also been forced to evacuate because Russian troops are only 8 kilometers away. Ukraine pays a high price for the success at Kursk, which is why military specialist Nico Lang draws a sobering interim assessment of the risky operation. The Russian pressure on Pokrovsk and the evacuations that are now necessary question the strategy of the Ukrainian leadership, said the security expert on Bild. So this is Bild's way and Julian Ropske's way of saying that Kursk was freaking stupid. That was one stupid idea. Boy, was that a stupid idea. That's what they're trying to say here. And not only was it a stupid idea, it has accelerated Ukraine's collapse in Donbass. Big time accelerated the collapse in Donbass. That is what they are saying as gently as possible. He is saying it as gently as possible. Ukraine and Zelensky, they are screwed. And they're going to get annihilated in Kursk. They're already getting annihilated in Kursk. He even says it. He even says what we have been saying on this channel and on the Duran, and what Alexander has been saying on his channel, which is that the only thing Ukraine managed to accomplish was to control the town of Sudzha. He says 6,000 inhabitants. I said 5,000 inhabitants, 9 kilometers from the border. That's all Ukraine accomplished in Kursk. That's it. And I said a couple of weeks ago that everything that was going on in Kursk reminded me of Rabotinia and Krinky. And he's basically saying the same thing that we have been reporting, that we have all been talking about on this channel. That's all they've accomplished, is control of this one little town 9 kilometers from the border. Meanwhile, he says that Russia has captured 5 or 6 fairly large settlements, and they continue to capture more and more large settlements and towns, small cities, whatever you want to call them. New York, Ugledar is now under siege. Bakrovsk is in big trouble. Kupiansk direction, Toretsk, everywhere. Everywhere, the Ukraine front line is collapsing. And he says that the Russians have managed to gain 230 square kilometers. Ukraine has taken a huge L, perhaps a decisive L, with the Kursk incursion. That is what Ropske is saying in this article. So going back to Nord Stream, we have remarks from Duda. Duda is saying that Germany's, the retired German spy chief, who said in a comment last week that Duda conspired with Zelensky to blow up Nord Stream. Remember that story? Duda has finally issued a statement. And this is what Andrzej Duda said. And I quote, "I perceived the statements of the former head of German foreign intelligence regarding the blowing up of the Nord Stream and Nord Stream 2 gas pipelines as absurd from a political point of view." So that's Duda's response to the former German foreign intelligence director, August Hanning, who said a couple of weeks ago that Zelensky and Duda, they colluded to blow up the Nord Stream pipeline. That is what this former German intel spy chief said. Duda is issuing a weak denial, I have to say. This is a kind of weak denial. It's absurd from a political point of view. It's an interesting statement from Duda. So what else can we discuss? When they were in the United States, Zelensky's team meeting with Biden officials, they wanted the United States to pay $800 million to rebuild Ukraine's energy system, which is on the brink of collapse, which will collapse this winter if Russia decides to go after it a couple of more times. And Russia has shown that they can hit anything, anywhere in Ukraine, because Ukraine's air defenses are non-existent in most areas of the country, with the exception of Kiev and Kursk, where they've moved air defense systems, where air defense systems are stuck in Kursk. In Odessa, what they do for air defense is they send F-16s to try and shoot down the missiles, and we know what happened the other day with that air defense plan of using F-16s to shoot down missiles. So in Tel Aviv, we had huge protests yesterday. Thousands of people took to the streets. I've read reports which claim 100,000 people. Is that accurate or is that too much? When you look at the images, the videos, and the photos coming out of Tel Aviv, it's a lot of people. The reports are that these are the biggest protests to date in Tel Aviv against Netanyahu and his government. They are not happy with Netanyahu. They're not happy that he has not been able to secure the release of hostages. And they want Netanyahu gone. They want the hostages released. They want the economy to get back to normal. And it looks like they want everything to wind down. Of course, that's one part of Israeli society. There's another part of Israeli society, which from what I understand is with Netanyahu and very hard line with in agreement with Netanyahu's approach to what's happening, not only in Gaza, but the escalation of a conflict with Hezbollah and eventually with Iran. So you have a very split, the way it looks is that you have a very split Israeli society. And it's getting more divided with each passing day. But huge protests against Netanyahu the other day in Tel Aviv. And Turkey, they have, according to Bloomberg, they have applied to join BRICS. Turkey bids to join BRICS in push to build alliances beyond West. Blocs set to discuss expansion at summit in Russia in October. Turkey's been frustrated by the lack of progress in bid to join the EU. Yeah, Turkey's been trying to join the EU for 30 years now. It's not going to happen. The EU, the EU has given accession talks to, has allowed accession talks to Ukraine and to Moldova. They've put Ukraine and Moldova ahead of Turkey. So forget about joining the EU. And why would you even want to join the EU now, Turkey? Come on now. Come on. You don't seriously want to join the failing, bankrupt, loser European Union, do you? Do you want to be under Ursula's control? Of course not. Of course you don't want to. I'm just kidding. The EU's not a loser. They're winning. The EU's winning. They're winning, man. Ursula's awesome. Borrell's awesome, man. Jungle Joseph. He's the man. He's the man with a plan. Anyway, yeah, they want to join BRICS because all the momentum is behind BRICS. All the freaking momentum is with BRICS. And if Turkey can manage to stay in NATO, which it will, and be part of BRICS, well, that's pretty significant. That would be a pretty slick move on Erdogan's part. Not a fan of Erdogan, not a fan at all, but you got to give props if he manages to get into BRICS and remain in NATO, and they're not going to kick Turkey out of NATO, so I don't see why this can't happen. That's going to be a big L for the European Union. So the European Union is going to get Ukraine, whatever that even means, whatever's going to be left of Ukraine, whatever. They'll get Ukraine and Moldova. Moldova's in a terrible economic state, and BRICS is going to get Turkey. Turkey's economy is not so great, but it has a lot of potential, and with China and BRICS behind it, it may be able to solve its inflation, its currency problems that have been plaguing Turkey for quite some time now. So let's do a clown world and we'll wrap this video up. This is actually a sad clown world, to be quite honest. This story really saddens me. And it has to do with what many people called the collective West media called Putin's spy whale in Norway. Remember that story about the whale that was found, that was discovered in Norway and had had a camera or harness which said "Greetings from St. Petersburg." One sec. Equipment St. Petersburg. It was wearing a camera harness labeled Equipment St. Petersburg. And they found this whale off the northern coast of Norway. And the story was that he was a Russian spy whale. They nicknamed this whale Hvaldimir with an H Vladimir, a combination of the Norwegian word for whale, Hval, and the name of Russian President Vladimir Putin. This whale died, unfortunately. That's what makes this a sad clown world. And the interesting part about this story, as I was reading into it, was that this whale was spotted off the coast of Norway, and it was in perfect. Well, people who saw the whale said it looked fine. Like the whale became, I guess, it became a type of a kind of celebrity, I guess. I mean, everyone knew of Vladimir, right? And the whale was doing fine, and then a couple of hours later, he died. Unfortunately, we found Vladimir floating in the sea. He has passed away, said Sebastian Strand, a marine biologist who monitored the whale for several years. He added that the cause of death remains unknown. It's absolutely horrible. He was apparently in good condition as of yesterday. We just have to figure out what might have happened here. That is what this marine biologist said. Yeah, the whale was doing fine, and then a few hours later, a day later, he was dead. So rest in peace, Vladimir. And we know that you were not a spy whale. That's ridiculous. Probably some sort of prank or something like that. But you became a type of celebrity, a celebrity whale, and you will be missed. Anyway, that is the video, everybody. TheDuran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and Twitter X. And go to the Duran shop. Pick up some merch, like my Greek t-shirt, Greek flag t-shirt that I'm wearing today. You will find a link in the description box down below. Take care.